the last episode we sailed into Falmouth Harbour and I moored up the river foul for a few days. It was my intention to sail further west, maybe to the Scilly Isles, but I heard from several sailors that it was very crowded over there and shelter is minimal and the weather was starting to deteriorate. So I decided maybe it was time to start heading back to the Solent. So here I am, heading down the river, trying to stay in the deep water channel. Probably not that important, but I do feel more comfortable with 50 feet under the keel rather than 2. Wind is fairly light at the moment, but the forecast is for a bit more later and in the right direction. So, Fowey, here we come.
The wind's dropped right away, so I've got the engine on and we're just going round Dartmouth Point.
Way out to starboard I saw this tall ship heading south as we crawled slowly towards Fowey.
Zephyr IV hurrying along now. I love it when she hurries along. 6.3 knots, that's not bad. The wind's suddenly come up from nothing in the and in the wrong direction, what there was, to a broad reach. So we're flying towards Fowey. The day mark on the hill is getting more and more prominent by the second. There's the day mark on the hill. Whoops. And the harbour's just to the right of that. This is great. The wind picked up at last and we're heading towards Fowey at a good rate of knots. We've been waiting for this all day. It's been a miserable day up to now. We're rolly and we've had to use the engine quite a bit. But this last little bit's been fantabulous. And to see some dolphins as well, that's been really, really good. Fantastic.
I've come past the town and right up the River Fowey and picked up a visitor swinging mooring. It's very quiet and peaceful up here, except for the China clay loading bay. Later on though, it was interesting to watch the tug very slowly tow the coaster full of clay off the dock and then downriver towards the harbour entrance. The following day started a bit foggy, but the forecast was for northerly winds up to force 5, maybe even more. So once the fog had cleared, I set off east on my way to Salcombe.
We're having a bit of a boisterous day today. We're on our way, hopefully, to Salcombe, having left Fowey about 10:30. It was miserable when we left. We've had lots of wind in varying directions. And sometimes it's been very exciting. At the moment, we're just, that headland over there is just beyond that is Plymouth, and it's calmed down quite a bit. When we do 15 knots of wind at the moment, we have had 30, but it's been jolly exciting. Unfortunately, autopilot won't cope with anything much over 22 knots, so I have done quite a bit of steering. Just had an exciting 5 minutes. These fenders fell off. I don't know how they did it because the clips are still intact, but they fell off. So it was man overboard drill. And normally you tie 2 fenders together so that you can get the rope in between, but I had 2 separate fenders, so that was a bit tricky with the boat hook, but I managed to get them both on board. Didn't take all that long, and I'm really quite proud of myself. My man overboard drill seemed to work extremely well. Whether it would have worked in 27 knots, which we had this morning earlier on, I don't know. It's pleasantly 15 knots at the moment, and that's a big, big difference. Just approaching Bolt's Head, and just round the corner of the darker bit is the entrance to Salcombe itself, so we're just a little bit away. One of the things about sailing, you can say, it's seldom 2 days the same. Yesterday we came in here with quite a lot of wind, today we're going out with not much. Just hard on the wind with the engine just ticking over to try and get around this headland, and then we'll be able to go a bit broad on the beam and go round the corner and down to well, the port is down south.
I have to treasure this moment. It's not often that dear old Zephyr IV overtakes boats in light airs, and it's very light. It didn't last long though. The rolly sea shook the wind out of the sails, and an engine burn moved us to the wind.
Zephyr IV downwind, wing on wing, heading for Dartmouth day mark. We're about an hour away, maybe less. The wind's filled in a bit, and we're doing 2.5 knots, which for downwind is quite good, really. Lovely, lovely afternoon out here.
And here we are back in the mouth of the Dart. I spent a couple of days in Ditson, partly because I like the place a lot, but also to get the times and weather right to cross Lyme Bay and round Portland Bill. The evening before I left, I motored down the river to Dartmouth town to top up with water and fuel, and spent the night on a mooring down there, so I'd be ready to get an early start.
Good morning. It's another bleary early morning start. It's 5:30. Just had breakfast, and today I'm currently in Dartmouth, and today it's crossing Lyme Bay. I have to be around Portland Bill by 6 o'clock tonight, so the intention is to leave here at 6. Gives me 12 hours to get across there. I've got a Frenchman in a yacht, a very nice Frenchman in a yacht next door. I'm going to go wake up in a minute. So he can get out the way, so I can get away. The other interesting thing is that I'm on the town quay. The harbour staff have been absolutely super, and but I'm sharing it with Tenacious, the great big square rigger, and I'll show you pictures of her in a minute. So interesting day. The weather looks okay. It's not raining, which is a good start. The wind's filling in a little bit, and hopefully we'll make it round Portland Bill and into Portland Harbour
without anything going amiss.
Good morning. So it's goodbye Dartmouth, probably for another year. It's been a lovely trip actually. The harbour staff have been absolutely super, and I've had a really good time. Sorry to go in many respects, but it's got to be done. Well, it's a rolly old day out here, running downwind in 23 knots of wind at the moment. Boat's doing, it says 4.4 on the log. Speed over the ground is 6 knots and a bit more, but it is calming down a bit. It was very, very lumpy and rolly just off Dartmouth, off the entrance to Dartmouth. I suspect the cliffs are having some things there, but as long as I keep her running pretty much straight downwind, it's not too bad. That's going to take us into Portland Bay, further north than we really need to be, but I can then jibe or harden up, and with the tide under us make it round the bill. But at this rate we're going to be maybe even a tad early. We're really zonking along. It doesn't seem to be from when you're sitting here, but when you look at the log and see how far we've already come, it's quite good. There's Dartmouth day mark in the gloom over there, and there's a wide expanse of nothing out here. Just occasionally you get one wave that really rocks you around. We're heading east, as you can see, because we're heading into the morning sun. So there you go, navigation by sun.
I've just rounded up into the wind and dropped the main, so we're now just running with the Genoa. We've slowed down a little bit, maybe half a knot, but the boat is much easier to steer and the autopilot is working well. We made steady progress in the rolly sea until we were about halfway across Lyme Bay, when to my delight I was joined by dolphins. Lots of dolphins.
Fabulous. Where have you gone?
I really wanted to go onto the foredeck and film the dolphins in the bow wave, and I think if I'd had someone else on board I would have gone, but I decided it was a bit too risky. The boat was rolling pretty badly on occasions and I was on my own.
According to the logger, or the chart plotter, we're about 22 miles from Portland Bill. I can just about see it in the clouds over there. The sea state has improved enormously and the winds dropped right down. We're looking at 12 knots at the moment. It was pushing 30 when we left Dartmouth, so it's all got calmer. My big worry was that they don't recommend using the inside passage with wind strengths greater than force 4 or 5. So we're sort of about force 3 to 4 at the moment. So we'll be just carrying on. Otherwise, I had to think of where to go if I went round the outside. It's a long way to pull from there or somewhere similar. So we're still rolling around a bit, but it's not. It doesn't feel malicious like it did before. And we're doing about 3 or 4 knots, but we are getting rolled around quite a lot. There's occasionally you get a wave that gets in the way.
But then the wind dropped and we had to start the engine again, just so that we keep our average speed up.
Getting fairly close to Portland Bill. Unfortunately, the wind's got up quite a bit and the sea state's a bit heavier than I would have liked, but we're here now really. You can just see the lighthouse at the end of the bill there, and we just got to scrape round that basically. I've got the Genoa up reefed. We've got 17 knots of wind on that, and the engine going quite well. So we're doing about 6 knots, so we should be there in about an hour.
This is me looking a bit pensive. The wind has picked up quite a bit. I've closed all the hatches and clipped my lifeline on, prepared for anything. But memories of what I'd seen at Portland Bill in the past kept intruding.
Well, we're through the inshore passage of the race. It's actually calmer here than it is in the channel. It was much worse in the channel than it is in here. This is the edge of the race, and there's very little, but of course that's the time of day that we picked. And we're just heading now round the corner here. We'll go down into Portland and pick up a mooring. I need a rest, I really do. It was it was pretty scary, but there was some huge wave near the lighthouse back there. Really huge, great big rollers, which we surfed down, and but then that was it. It was a bit like this. This is the nicest bit of sailing I've done all day, really. A very regular following sea, and it's just lovely. So. Portland race, we did it.
So here's our route across the second half of Lyme Bay and round Portland Bill and then north to Portland Harbour, where I anchored just in time for tea. After the seriousness of rounding Portland Bill, here's a bit of brevity, a sort of outtake. I've been a radio amateur most of my life and operate from Zephyr IV when there's time and space. I thought I'd film a bit of this, so I lashed up a camera mount on the door handle of an adjacent door. It wasn't as stable as it should have been, and here's the result.
Thanks for the call. G4, Hotel Echo Echo, GB 2 signing. Bye-bye. And QRZ, Golf Bravo, 22.
Fucking hell.
CQ 40 meters. CQ 40, CQ 40, CQ 40 meters. Golf Bravo 22, Golf India. Special event call sign for the Commonwealth Games and Americans. Calling and listening from Northern Ireland.
Germany 8, Alpha X-Ray Zulu Maritime Mobile, over.
Yes, Golf 8, Alpha X-Ray Zulu Maritime Mobile. Fantastic signals into northwest Northern Ireland into the special event call GB 22 Golf India. You're 5959, and the name this end is Ian, India Alpha November. QSL?
Yeah, QSL, Ian. You're also 5 and 9 here on my boat in Portland Harbour. I'm Maritime Mobile on my boat. We're at anchor at the moment in Portland Harbour, and you're 5 and 9, no problems at all. Name is Dave, Delta Alpha Victor Echo. So how do you copy it? Well, you just told me that, didn't you? Very good. Hope you're having a good time. Golf Bravo 22, Golf India, Golf 8 Alpha X-Ray Zulu Maritime Mobile.
Yeah, absolutely. We have Golf 8 Alpha X-Ray Zulu Maritime Mobile in Portland Harbour. I think I actually work another station quite regularly, the WAB snap. We worked another, I think it's another day actually, or maybe it's okay. I'm rambling a bit here now, Dave, but I know Portland Harbour, and fantastic to get you from your boat. We're having a great time. Super signal. I'll get that, there's no watch your antenna there, just before you sign off, and also the equipment there. We're using a 40-meter quad antenna at the minute, and essentially performing okay on the noisy band. Golf 8 Alpha X-Ray Zulu Maritime Mobile, GB 22 Golf India.
Yeah, Roger, Ian, Golf Bravo 22, Golf India, Golf 8 Alpha, X-Ray, Zulu, Maritime Mobile. Nothing special, Ian. I'm just running 100 watts from an old FT847, and the antenna is an inverted V. So nothing special, but of course I am floating in salt water, which apparently helps. But you're a very, very good signaller, one of the strongest signals on the band, and it's not good conditions today. I've worked a few stations and it's been very, very, very scratchy indeed. So so there you go. This is the end of coming to the end of a trip. I've left Gosport at the beginning of July, and I've been all the way along the south coast to Falmouth in Cornwall, and then I'm making my way back again, and having a bit of a lay day today. It was a very, very busy day yesterday. Anyway, I won't hold it. You've obviously got lots of people calling for the special event station, but just to let you know, I'm recording this and it will end up on my YouTube video that I put out about the boat and what have you. So I just thought you ought to know that. If you're not happy with it, I won't put it on, but I'm sure you are. But lovely to talk to you, Ian. 73 for now. This is Golf 8 Alpha, X-Ray, Zulu, Maritime Mobile. Bye-bye to Golf Bravo 22, Golf India.
The following morning, very early, I set off further eastwards, heading for the Solent and home. But that's for the next video. Thank you for watching this one, commenting and subscribing. It's just great to have you all along with me. Bye-bye for now.